the big question is, right, is how do you compete in a market when the consumer, we feel, is shopping, right? It's going on price. And they're always trying to price us down. And so what I want to talk about today is how to stop the price war and actually double what you charge. Okay? And there's just one trick, one tip, one way you double what you charge.
One word.
One concept for doubling what you charge. Are you ready for it?
Right.
Whatever you use to charge, just multiply times 2. That's it. All right, we're done, guys. No. All right.
They're that easy, right?
If it were that easy, right? No, we can. But there are some things that we've got to do. So I'll kind of give you a little bit about how I was able to do that with my company. Okay. So I was very much in the nightlife. When I graduated Cornell, I came down to Miami, and I went to work for corporate America, but I didn't last very long. I got fired after a year because I'm very entrepreneurial, right? And then I tried to go to like another job, and like that didn't last either because I was always doing stuff on the side. And that thing on the side was nightclub promoting. I just got deep into the nightclub promoting. And in the nightlife, while I was promoting, I figured out this was a time where MySpace was just getting started. And we figured out that the nightclubs didn't really have it all together when it came to digital marketing, right? Graphic design, websites, using a bunch of different freelancers, not really paying attention too much to the website. It used to be a lot of flyering, right? And that started to change when social media came around. So me and my buddies, we got together and we formed a company, the Creative Complex. And our first client wasn't even a nightclub. It was a drywall company, put up drywalls. And but in the nightlife, I started to grab nightclub clients to do their flyers, to do their websites. And I started to develop this sort of passion for the nightlife, right? Developing my niche, okay? And that's sort of one of the first keys here to doubling your price and being able to be able to command a higher price than the next guy is by picking a niche, okay? So I was starting down my route of being able to charge whatever I wanted to charge because I was picking a niche to be involved with. So the Indian community, very good niche to be involved in. Now you start to become very focused down in, and people are willing to pay more than another guy. Marketers, right? The marketing directors at the clubs, those were my clients. Right? The owners paid the bills, but the people ordering the designs and ordering me around were the marketing directors, which sometimes was the owner too. And these nightlife marketing people, they were seeking more information, right? What do we do with these things? How do we send out emails? And although those weren't services that I was providing, I was still giving advice on them. So I thought to myself, man, my clients are nightlife marketers. How do I assert myself more as an authority to them? Let me start a blog. And I started a blog called Nightlife Marketing Association, nightlifemarketingresource.com. Nightlifemarketingresource.com was just, I would go online and I would find like a social media article, right? Something, whatever. And I would read it and be like, I would reinterpret it for the nightlife, and then I would blog about it for the nightlife, and I would send out a blast to all my clients. Now my clients who are ordering websites and graphic design from me, they start getting other information about marketing, and they start seeing me as an authority in the field, right? So not only was I developing a niche, but I was also asserting myself as an authority in the field. Dude, I was just going, seeing articles on what was being written about social media. I was just regurgitating or reintroducing the idea, but towards the nightlife, right? I was taking all of this information that was being thrown on the web, and I was just evaluating it for the nightlife, right? Giving one place so that the nightlife marketer wasn't going a bunch of different places. Then I wrote a book called Guide to the Perfect Flyer Design. When you take everything you've learned and you put it into one of these ebooks or books, man, that takes you to a whole nother level. Because then people are like, dude, this guy wrote the book on freaking flyers. I need to get business from him. Guys, it wasn't that difficult. I opened up a Word document and I just started writing down like, okay, colors, font, layout, like the stuff that my graphic designers were doing anyway. I just said, what is the formula here? Boom, boom, boom. And then I wrote about it and I put some examples and I saved it as, and then I slapped on a nice design to it. And when people came to my website, it's a guide to the perfect flyer design. Whoa. And then they downloaded it and I collected tons of email addresses. And again, I was asserting myself as an authority within a certain niche, okay? Then came the awesome part. I got so specific with I got so into getting my information out, right? And becoming a specialist in my field, right? Because I was really niching down. I was asserting myself as an authority. I was becoming this sort of specialist in my field. And one day I decided to myself, you know what? There's no association for nightlife marketers. And I decided out of the blue, I was going to start the Nightlife Marketing Association. There's no rules to this. You buy a domain name, you come up with a logo, and you say you're open for business. And the Nightlife Marketing Association opened up doors for me to be sort of celebrity status. I went to Vegas and I spoke at the nightclub and bar convention. I had the booth. Because I had the association, because I had this blog, because I had this book, they saw me as this person, this guru in the field. And the perception out there was that this is the man to do business with. And all I was doing was just taking information and reinterpreting it for the nightlife, okay? And that got me interviews with top clubs. That got my name out there, and it created this sort of magnetic marketing attraction to me. So it wasn't that difficult anymore to go out and get business. People were just coming to my website and filling out the lead request form and requesting from me. And I could charge more than the normal designer. Sergio will let you know. I could just charge more than the normal designer because they wanted to do business with the best. And I didn't even go as far as to double my prices, which I could have done. There is dudes today that will charge you twice as much for a flyer. because of the way they've designed their website and they've put themselves out there, that you want to work with this guy. But to do it, you're going to have to pay $250 a flyer instead of 75, or instead of 50. Sometimes you could pay someone. So here's how this looks, guys. All right. This is how you're able to charge more money. I told everybody to silence their phones.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all listen but you.
Everybody. So what we have here is that we all start out as generalists, right? When I first opened up my company, I was taking anybody that would give me a $500 check. I was taking it because I was just doing business for everyone, with everyone. I think we can all say that we've been here before. Okay. From generalist, you go to specialist. From here to here, you're usually starting to say, I did websites and graphic design and SEO. I did it for everyone in any type. When you move from here to here, you're picking a certain type of thing to do. So we started to pick, first of all, we started to say we wanted to do nightlife. We started to get really specific and say graphic design, right? Because nightclubs only did one website, but flyers, 5 a week, 4 or 5 a week. Okay, there was more money there. So we started to specialize, and that's why I wrote Guide to the Perfect Flyer Design, not Guide to the Perfect Website Design. Although I did eventually make that one too, we specialized in graphic design. Authority. This is when you've decided you're going to write your book, right? You're going to write the ebook. You're going to create the blog, right? You're going to assert yourself out there as the guru in this particular field or niche. Celebrity status is, and if we say where the money's at, I mean, that's where the money's at, right? So if you're looking to increase your money, you have to know that the money starts to increase as you move up this triangle. So what does this mean for you? What does it mean for your business? And that's what we'll end up discussing here. We'll spend the rest of the time here, maybe identifying where our track record could be. Maybe some have already started thinking about what are the things that you could be doing to assert yourself and get yourself higher up this ladder. Someone over here in this celebrity status, they have done more than write a book. They've gone on to get speaking engagements. They have, started to maybe create their own product, right? Their own white label product of some sort. They've started their own YouTube channel. I mean, you start to do that stuff sort of down here, but celebrity status obviously takes you to a whole new level. And I'm not, I took myself out of the nightlife, and I'm not going to go into that right now in here. When you take yourself out of something, you start over. It's just the way it works. But this is how you sort of stop competing with everyone else, and this is how you start commanding the doubling of prices for your company. And for creatives, it's so easy for us to do this. It really is, because there's so many ways there's so many different programming languages. There's so many things out there, but honing in like you've done, You're going Ruby on Rails, so you're getting deeper in.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of what you're saying there. I mean, I would put myself in specialty right now, or specialist, but definitely, I think one of the things that I've done is zone into that framework, and that's the framework that I like.
Yeah.
So I can definitely relate to
So
that.
we should start talking about the move,
Mm-hmm.
right? What are the things that you need to be doing? Again, I've got a formula. I'm not saying it's the only formula, but I've done this before, so I can share some of the things with you. So that's what we'll end sort of this broadcast with, and stay tuned for the next meetup where we talk about the next thing for creatives. All right, so for us, we'll spend the next 15 minutes? Yeah, because this is going to end at 8. The last part of what I wanted to talk about was sharing some ideas of where each of us could specialize in. And then I wanted to set the date for the next one, that we would invite our friends, and what other hot topics are on the minds of creatives when it comes to business and when it comes to growing our businesses. Is it how to get more referrals? Is it how to deal with problem clients? Is it quoting process? What are the things that are really a thorn in our sides that sometimes even frustrate us to the point where it's like, I don't even want to own a business, right? So if we can get over those hurdles, then it makes being an entrepreneur enjoyable. I think one of the big things for me, and I'll squeeze it here. One of the big things for me that started to make owning a business enjoyable was that movement up the triangle, because when you start becoming a specialist, then first of all, it's cool when clients are magnetically attracted to you, right? It doesn't become such a rat race of like looking for clients. Mm-hmm. It's cool when people see you as this sort of guru type. Mm-hmm. It's cool that when you read blogs and you do your sort of education as an entrepreneur, that you can focus in on a certain theme and not have to read everything out there, but that you're reading specifically about a certain thing. It's cool that you get to develop a network of people that are sort of that might rely on you and now start to send you a bunch of business as well. So you say, I mean, programming, just to start with you, programming is sort of this big, wide open field. There's just so much when it comes to software development. What have you done to sort of start to specialize in?
So I'm a frequent at meetups, so that everyone knows. And there's this one guy that I really started following about 2 years ago. His name is Obi Fernandez, and he's an entrepreneur. And he started a boutique development shop called Hash Rocket out of Jacksonville. And he spoke at a convention called RubyConf, and he basically explained, not so much as a developer what you do, but more how do you engage a customer. So I took a lot of what he said, and my problems were in, one, selling. I'm not a good salesman, right? But the customer wants something that I have. They've seen my work and they want it, but they still need to be pitched. You still got to pitch them. So it was always hard for me and laying that out. So what Obi said was, first, don't sell yourself, sell the work, and be specific as to what you do. So it's almost like exactly what you were saying about being a specialty, right? So I chose at that point to leave PHP, even though I still do it, but I do Ruby on Rails. So I'm a specific, that's my framework. And he then followed it up with an MSA, a master service agreement. And what that master service agreement allowed me to do was weed out the fake customers, or the customers that weren't real to pay big bucks, right? Because I was tired of chasing down the small guys. So with this MSA, master service agreement, it basically let you pay a deposit, and that's just a deposit. Then you're agreeing on a set hourly rate, which is on the contract as well. And if you sign that, you give the deposit, and work starts immediately by storyboarding. So that part's been great. And and I've adopted to it. I love it. It's distinguished me from other developers in the area. But I think what I'm looking for here now is more on what can I do to get more to the customer? Because what I'm seeing now is I'm developing a project. I get the project up, gets in production, and that's kind of done. When I should be thinking, well, how can I help my client get to their next level, right? Because now they've got the app, but they need someone to market it. They need someone. So I think it's more, I need to network a little bit more. I need to, because that's not my specialty, right?
Well,
So,
you could pass them
but I can
along.
pass them along and kind of
to their
consult them,
next
right?
step.
Like, you know, you may need this, you may need that. So
For the upgrades, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So you want them to grow because them growing means you're going to come back and do more work.
Right.
Now, you're doing this sort of Ruby on Rails thing. How do you take yourself to be like, what's this guy's name?
Obi Fernandez?
Obi. How do you put yourself in a position to be like an Obi and where you're up on stage?
So along with what you said, I mean, the authority part, it's so funny because I look at him and he's written blogs, he's written books, he's written gems. Gems are plugins to Ruby on Rails.
You have two.
Well, I have one gem. Okay. So, but right. So now it's getting your name out and getting that exposure that, okay, this guy's contributing back. It's Sports Data API. So you guys probably know about this. Any network has certain ins, CBS, WSVN, affiliates, right? Where they get the data a little faster than everyone else. So Sports Data is one of those affiliate networks. And then what happens is we were building a fantasy football, daily fantasy football gambling application. So we needed to get data real time, right? Because if a play's happening on the TV, you need to have it on the app. So this affiliate didn't have any way to interface with their system via Ruby, which is the code that I write in. So we had to build the interface. So we built it, but we were like, no, we're gonna build it, but we're gonna release it. Like I don't want to be the only one to have it. I was like, let's put it out there so everybody else can use it. And if you build the app and use it, that's great. So we did it, and we've got about 15,000 downloads so far, and we've only released it about a year ago. So that's pretty cool.
For this gem.
For this gem, right? For that affiliate. The gem is just a plugin. Gem just means plugin.
What affiliate?
Sports Data. Sportsdata.com.
Affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they work with CBS. They're like a partner of CBS.
Okay. So.
So what he did was he wrote blogs. He started doing, and then he started doing the speaking engagement.
Yeah.
He's all over the Ruby world, like
okay.
This framework. So he's in Vegas, he's in San Francisco, so he really solidified himself. And then he sold his company, and he's like, I'm done here. I'm gonna go make another one in New York. So he left Jacksonville. He's in New York again with another guru called Tim Pope. And so I see a lot of that, and I think that's what I'm missing right now. Yeah. I need to get a lot of that.
All right. So in the world of graphic design, there's everything graphic design, right? There's so much to do in graphic design. We double niched. We first chose an industry, and then we chose a type of graphic design because we chose event flyer design, right? It's a totally different design than branding, logos and all that stuff, and brochures and specialty print cards and all that stuff is so different than event flyers. And we, and event flyers for the nightclubs, right? Not event flyers for churches, which they need them too. Not event flyers for Chamber of Commerce's, which they need them too. We like super duper niched out. Within Ruby on Rails, although you've niched into a certain framework, there might be, first of all, industry is really easy to niche into. So if it's sports or sports data, you can start to develop more gems for this sports data guy or maybe another sports related thing. And so choosing a certain niche industry within Ruby on Rails, and within Ruby on Rails, again, I'm not familiar with Ruby on Rails, but I have to assume that there's certain themes too within Ruby on Rails that you could sort of specialize in, right?
Yes, correct. ORM, front end, there's different parts.
There you go. So you have to come to a point and again, it's not that you're going to stop doing PHP. It's not that you're going to stop doing other stuff. It's that you've decided to blog about a certain niche. I was still doing nightclub. I was still doing websites, logos, brochures. I just chose to, and I was doing other industries. My portfolio was everybody. I just decided to blog.
So you spoke up about the niche, but you did all the work.
Exactly.
Got it.
So I'm not asking you guys to only do. I'm just asking you guys to pick a niche to blog about, to be about, and you'll see that that will be a magnet, and the other stuff will come because of referrals and your friends and your work. But this stuff you'll see will just come naturally without any work. It's just gonna come to you, and then you get asked to speak at events and do a bunch of stuff. Has anybody here in this sort of talk right now, as we wrap this up, like figured out? And I know yours, right when you said the Indian community, I thought to myself, awesome, because it's a very niched out community. I'm sure, I know they like to do, like Jewish people like to do business with Jewish people. I can only assume that in a community here in South Florida, there's more affinity in that community. Indian weddings, because there's so many different traditions that go on within the wedding. You wouldn't know them, but she would, right? She knows that. What are they? 3-day, 1-week celebrations?
Yeah, she's taught me stuff about that stuff that
See, so
I would have no idea.
You would have no idea.
Right.
So it's like, well, Tony was with me when I recently shot a wedding last month, and they had a 3-day wedding. So we had 2 videographers, one from the girl side and one from the guy side.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 families competing against each other, pretty much. So from the
You mean they were independently contracted?
independently contracted,
Wow,
right?
okay.
So I went with the group of people that I usually work with that, take me along with them. We have photographers, DJ, event planners. We have like a group that go contract events like that. We don't get as many, but we get a few. So when you had the wedding, this other guy from the guy side was actually not Indian. He had no idea. He shot the wedding, but then tells me, can you edit it for me? Because I have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know when the wedding vows are being read, what they're saying. You're not supposed to put music over certain areas and stuff because of religious reasons and stuff. He doesn't know what music to pick.
Yeah.
So basically, I got half of his money now.
Nice.
So which worked out, but you don't get that often.
Right.
You really don't get that often.
So someone like you, your website, if you do have a side website, do you have a side website? So
I'm just starting off,
Yeah.
really.
your website, you'd make it like on squarespace.com, right? One of those $10 template websites, $10 a month ones. It should literally scream out on the South Florida Indian wedding, whatever other occasions there are, specialist. And, obviously as a wedding person, Indian DJs, Indian catering, Indian, you got it all because that's what you do.
That's what we do. That's what we have the group of people
that's
what we.
And your blog, like FloridaIndianWeddings.com or IndiaInFlorida.com. It's like very niched out. It's super niched out, but it even allows people who might be traveling here to have a wedding, or you could even get contracted to go shoot somewhere else. But that starts to take you in from generalist to specialist. And if you want to get from specialist to authority, you have to somehow write a book or do some kind of thing to be able to take you up there. But don't try to like jump the pyramid, you gotta like work your way up that pyramid. So I think just a very awesome first step is just put yourself out there as South Florida's India wedding video photographer specialist. It's a very nice space to play in, and you've got your $2,500 package, your $5,000 package, and $10,000 package.
The only problem, they don't want to pay that much.
They will
They will. Once they know
once
who
they
you are.
once you command that on your website, once it's visible to them, people buy with their eyes, and they'll pay for someone who's a specialist because you know the certain things that Tony doesn't know.
If they want to, in the end, go to that old Jewish man for $200, let them go to the
Let 'em
old
go.
Jewish man,
Let them go.
because they're gonna regret it later,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like,
Let it go.
Quality of work was
Yeah.
gonna make you stand up for
We-
everybody else.
One of the biggest mistakes we can make as human beings is think that other people just won't pay for
Right.
certain things. And I make this mistake all the time. I won't pay for it. Doesn't mean you won't pay for it. I wouldn't pay for a lot of things, but you would.
Right.
And so, of course, if we believe they won't, they won't.
right,
I think that happened to me a lot in the beginning, and after seeing the thing about like Ovi Fernandez and his MSA, that helped me so much because my thing was I'd go to a client and I didn't have a full time. I said to myself, I quit the full time gig and I was like, I was gonna do this, and had my time that I was gonna give it a shot. And when you're there and you need the money, they can kind of feel it. But when you can kind of just leave them on the paper and say, look, that's my number,
Yeah.
take it or leave it, and walk away,
right.
And
it's like,
here's
whoa.
one of my books, by the way.
Right.
I leave you my quote and the book. I have the book. When you walk in, it's Guide to the Perfect Flyer. I printed it out. $5 to print this thing out
What? Where?
in Fort Lauderdale. $5,
It's still
bro.
printing?
Yes.
It's still printing.
Yeah. They still print.
There's still one company
He's
that
like,
needs. Yeah, they're the celebrities.
Oh, yeah, this guy has niched down. This particular printer has niched down to a certain cult of marketing called direct marketing.
Yeah.
He's only printing for people who are part of this network called Glacier Kennedy Insider Circle, GKIC. So basically, GKIC has like 30,000 members around the world of people that are learning marketing. This guy, his printing company only does business with people in that network.
nice. That's a niche.
Okay, we're talking niche now. But guess what? He knows the mentality of the group. He's in the group. He drank the Kool-Aid of the group. So he's niching within a certain group. He'll never be able to accomplish. He himself wouldn't be able to do all the work. Like, that's how much work there is within this network. So anyway, that's another type of niche. So, Tony, you're a little bit everywhere,
Right.
all right? You are events though, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So we can start to
Almost anything but nightclubs videos, I'm down to do. So we've already been there and done that.
right.
I'm over
Can I say
that.
something?
Yeah, go.
Whoever you have worked with or any clients that you have had, they're well known. Put them up as portfolio. Well, I have done work for Burger King, Comcast, or whatever. I mean, not everybody does work for them. You know, if you use them
Well,
as
what
a
I
reference.
do is that what Tony had taught me to do
Mhm.
was to make highlight videos of every event that we do, like a 1-minute trailer, 2-minute
Absolutely,
trailer,
yeah.
10-minute trailer, whatever. And then when people want it, just send them off. Like
Yeah.
I
You have a
have,
Vimeo portfolio?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I got her into the video too. I'm like, Vimeo's the best thing
Yeah.
for videos.
So I mean,
yeah.
I've been doing a lot of stuff for school before I graduated, so I have a lot of stuff on my portfolio. So it's
Mhm.
not only Indian; I've done other stuff.
Right.
So, but problem is that I don't know the people to sell myself. You know what I mean?
Okay, I
The
see.
people, I can't approach people and tell them about
Mhm.
you know, hey, this is what I do. If you need help, it's like more like, so when I talked to this other videographer, I was like, hey, if you ever need help, let me know. I'm down to help you out. You know, if you have any events, you have concerts, let me know, because this guy does a lot of concert videos and stuff like that. So he's like, yeah, sometimes I might need a second person. So, you know, stuff like that. So it's very rare occasions. And that's my only issue. That's my biggest issue, actually.
It's funny you said that because I did the same thing. I actually went on to Meetup, went on to Facebook, started looking at anybody that was doing the exact same thing that I did, compiled a list, threw it into MailChimp, created a newsletter or like an introduction to me. They probably knew me, but you know, in some cases they didn't.
Right.
And then sent it out. It's like, hey, look, I'm a developer, you know, and that's how I started getting the first part run of my business.
Right. And I just recently, I mean, I've been doing it since I was in high school, but I recently started freelancing. Really, we started off with Tony, and you know, if Tony would be like, hey, Aniva, there's something's coming up, let's go. If one of the photographers that I work with, if he's like, hey, listen, we got an upcoming event, they want like a videographer, can you come? Hey, yeah, sure, why not? But I don't know anyone It's
Where'd you
not-
grow up?
here. I mean, born in Chicago, but I basically
And you
here.
went to high school here?
Yeah.
Flanagan?
No, NMB.
Okay. And how do you connect with the Indian community down here?
Well, because I am Bengali. So
Right.
we have a lot of South Asian communities. I'm saying Indian because everybody knows Indian,
Yeah.
but we do South Asian stuff. So
Yeah.
I dance particularly, so we know we do a lot of events like shows and stuff like that. So, you know, I know the community. I know more of the Bengali community. They don't want to spend money. That's the biggest issue. Indian people do want to spend more money than us, but that's how we started getting, because I know the culture, I know what it is. I
The
performed
tradition.
before. They
Mhm.
know what I do as a career, so it just kind of like
What you should have, again, in this particular niche, you have, by the way, you have enough in your network and circles to do this. You need the 3 packages, but the 3 packages, here's another thing about doubling your price, is when you double your price, you allow yourself to discount to the price you were gonna take anyway. Right? You allow yourself to 50% off people, which is freaking deal. And people are like, whoa, that's awesome.
Right, because if you want 1,000, you tell somebody, say 1,600 maybe to start with, or and then if you work your way down to 1,100, you still feel like you can still have a little ahead.
So-
Yeah.
So double the price, because 1 out of 10 will
I
say
don't really
yes.
deal with prices, and that's another issue.
You what?
Well,
I
that's
don't deal with prices because I have people taking me along with them.
Oh,
well, that
They're the main dealer. I'm actually like the person that tags along and does the
yeah,
work.
but in the Indian community, you'd be the main dealer.
Yeah.
No, but she's still going
That's
through
right.
like a group of
Well,
people that
the
hire
people.
her out.
The guy that
So she's looking to
does
break through and like,
kind of do
You want to be the one in the top though. The way you do that is you have a website. It's Bengali,
South Asian.
South Asian style. You say your services, you do this, like say all the right keywords and have the right picture with the right looking people and the right wedding. And your prices is you quote this thing out. You have your paper that you give people, and it's got the 3 columns, with the thing and the check marks down the line, check mark, check, and this is price 1, boom, and this is 2,500, 5,000, 10K. This is just what you hand to people. Then they start with their prices, right? Oh, well, we wanted to do this. Okay, well, then we just won't do this part.
Well, what I've done with that is I did this, and I don't know what this is. I know it has a name, but like the 3-column thing, I forgot what it's called. But then what I also did was an a la carte. So, because that would happen a lot of time, I would give to my client that, and like, well, I don't need that and that. I go, well, we can a la carte that. So,
Right.
Yeah, and so that adds, oh, you want this from here to this one, well, then it's $500 to this one. And at that point, again, there's because you have the website that specializes it, because you followed up well, and because you're resourceful, right? The minute that they start saying, you ask the question like, who's your caterer? They're like, oh, I don't have one. Dude, whether they buy from you or not, start hooking them up with the connections. Hopefully those people you've got some kind of referral agreement with, but you start to become the resourceful person. But double these prices and then let them haggle you down. And eventually you've moved up to such a point where there ain't no haggling.
Right, because it's like, I don't got time.
First of all, I don't have time. Right?
Yeah.
I'm booked.
Yeah.
In fact, if you don't pay me my deposit now, I can't guarantee that I'll be available those 3 days. That's the type of, that's where you want to get to.
Authority.
Yeah, that kind of authority. So anyway, anybody else think of something? I know for you, Tony, we've got to get down to a certain, theme.
Mine is more like, I'm happy with everything that I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like my 40-hour week job, plus my weekends and this and that. But I also like doing videos for everything. And it's like, okay, you want to do a wedding this week? Cool. We did a media training the other week. Literally, I set up the camera for an hour, made $300,
Nice.
just filming the guy. The person asked, did a mock interview, helped them, then we played it back on the TV so we could see his ums and oohs and this and that. Played it back, boom, $300, for like 2 hours on a Sunday out.
Nice.
Go shoot this video, this promotion, real estate, kind of like.
Are you getting hired to do tours a lot? Actually, because I just threw on a light bulb on mine.
To do what?
Like for you said real estate.
Oh no, I've done a couple like real estate videos, like.
Yeah. After I'd like to get your card because I just thought about I have a actual client just signed really quick that does a lot of like big homes, $1 million properties.
Right. Okay.
So they put in a lot of money into marketing.
Right.
And
Right.
when you say
Which is
video-
important because I think a lot of people now think that they could just shoot it with their iPhone, and it's like it's still not. Yeah. I mean.
Well, especially that demographic too,
The
right?
demographic too is like, what we do is like nice shots,
Right. Smooth.
produce, put a mic on the guy, he can do a little tour of the thing. It's
My
not
friend just bought the drone.
okay.
He's
Yeah.
starting.
Yeah.
His company is called Flynamics,
Okay.
and they're starting to do commercials.
Right.
Construction property stuff. He's coming to do my video.
Okay.
We're doing a video shooting here, but the drone is going to come from the street down to the
Into the
creative
thing.
complex,
Right.
in through the door, but it'll stop there, and then he'll have a handheld.
Right.
This other cool thing he said he got that works. I don't know how it works, but
Right.
anyway, if you need drone stuff,
Right.
by the
Right.
way.
That's yeah. That's
That's the fun stuff, man.
Yeah, you won't have problems selling yourself. I mean, you work for Channel 7.
Right. Yeah. It's
I'm
not.
the videography. That's the quality
Yeah,
you're
the
gonna
problem
get.
is, I mean, not the problem, but I mean, the thing is, like me and Alex, when we worked in nightclubs, a lot of our business has come from those people that we've known
Yeah.
from back in the days, because we all did our job back then,
Yeah.
and they trust us. We always we
Right.
do the events, do the parties,
Yeah.
we invite them to good events, we took care of them at the door, and now they come back to us when they're getting married or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm doing my things, but always looking for anybody else that's kind of like, hey, I need somebody. I know I'm building a website for a store that's selling bathing suits. Maybe I pitch them a video like they could show off their boutique or
Yeah.
whatever like that.
Ozzy.
Boom.
By the way, Ozzy
Yeah, I
needs
just
a
talked to
video.
him downstairs. Yeah,
Did he
about
tell
it.
you he needs a video?
He talked about the
adult daycare center.
well, he talked about the
WMC.
the Winter Music Conference pool
He
parties or
didn't
whatever.
tell you that
He told me about it. He just he's
Adult
doing the
daycare center?
video, but he told me he was
needs a
doing
video.
oh, okay, he didn't
He
tell me
needs
that.
one.
Right. Okay.
I wonder if he's down there. Is that him
I
down there?
heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear them. There's
Yeah.
Okay.
So
people downstairs.
pitch him.
We'll talk to him about that
Tell
too.
him.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I sent a friend over there, and Ozzy though. He doesn't
Right.
pay.
Right. Exactly. No, right from the beginning, he's like, yeah, let me know what your budget is.
Yeah. You know Ozzy.
Here we
bro.
go.
I had to, bro. Just because he got me into the club so much.
Right. I know.
I
It's
sold him a website for dirt cheap.
it's one of those people we
That's
For
pay.
right.
negative. For negative.
But that's
It's one of those people we pay it back to.
Hey.
We take care of them.
That happens.
Very few people though.
That happens.
Very few.
I got a couple in my pocket too. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have those randos.
He's like, bro, we go back. As soon as he saw me, he's like, bro, we go back.
Here's that card.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, I'll let you guys go. I'll be here. This is my office, and hopefully you guys got something cool out of it.
Did you get pricing already for the co-working space and stuff? Because I've been kind of telling a couple people and.
$199 virtual. This is a co-working space, so if you guys know, also you could help me out here. Graphic designers, web developers, software programmers, video, photography, anything. I have a music studio downstairs too. I'll give you guys a little tour. That if they want keys to the place, 24/7 access, it's $199 a month.
That's not bad. That's pretty decent.
Yeah.
That's better than Winwood.
Yeah. And then if you want a desk, like one of the desks, it's $349. If you want one of the corner desks, it's $499.
So you allow them to do anything basically with the studios and.
The studio
They
space
basically have
is
a-
someone's. So if you needed like music and stuff, it'd have to be dealt with him
Right.
specifically. That'd be like an add-on. Let's call it an add-on.
Is there a computer that we can use in here?
Yeah, there's computers downstairs too.
I mean, I saw the computers, but what I mean is that you're saying that if you want a desk, if you computer all the stuff just for yourself, then you have to pay extra. But if you pay the $200 a month, will you be able to have access to a computer so you can do whatever creative
If
work
there's
you
a
want?
computer downstairs, sure.
Oh, okay.
But if there's not,
Right,
it's not included.
right.
But if it's available and it's
Right.
open downstairs,
Well, I normally have like my laptop or something like that.
yeah, I figured everyone has a laptop.
Right.
Right.
You know, and they do their stuff, they get their beats on,
Right.
and they just start doing their thing. I imagine this being like great place for me for client meetings.
Mhm.
All right, it's like, hey, meet me at my office, or send mail or whatever. So I don't imagine it being like someone's 24/7 work space, because at the end of the day, like I like working from home,
Mhm.
straight up. I like the convenience. But if I'm gonna meet a client or whatever, it's here.
Right. Well, I mean, there's times that you have a lot of work, a lot of writing and stuff like that. Well, in my case,
Yeah,
you know, and then you just work until you're done or whatever. You know, you have an advertising campaign, you just get it done,
yeah,
no matter how many hours you put in, because you
Yeah.
just have to
Burn
meet
the
your deadlines. Yeah. I mean, in my life in advertising, only twice I was not able to meet my deadlines. Once was because our client was not giving us the stuff that we're supposed to get on time, and the other time it was we were cursed on that particular job. Just the neon signs were breaking for some reason. It's like there's somebody's doing this or no. But only 2 times. So I like to meet my deadlines.
good.
So if I need to work like whatever as much I need to get it
The
done.
most important thing is meeting your deadlines
Yeah,
with any
because-
clients. Is
Yeah.
like,
You don't meet your deadlines.
forget
You're
about
with
it.
people now.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
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 This
You know
guy
what I
took
do?
forever to do my
No
video.
deadline.
No matter how great it came out at the end.
Seriously, I go
And then
agile.
A
I'm
month
100%
later,
agile.
2 weeks
I
later.
give you milestones, but never a deadline.
I always give them like,
That's
let's
good.
say for a
That way
wedding
it
video,
moves.
I'll tell them 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
But I know I can finish it in
Right.
4.
Exactly.
You know,
So agile is
Push it
another
over whatever
methodology.
might
Push
come,
it right.
yeah.
And what's
Exactly, yeah.
cool about agile is I don't know if you guys are doing it. Agile project management. WSM.
I
So
don't
check
know.
this out.
I am out in the field all day long
Oh,
shooting
yeah.
videos.
Computer.
Yeah.
So you have
I'm not even in the station anymore.
you have the ice box, you have the backlog, and then you have current. Right. So you come in and this can work for any creative. So this agile process comes in from like some guy made it up in like the 60s, or 50s, never really got used until Silicon Valley picked it up back in the 90s. So what happens is in any creative project, you fill in tasks or requests. I don't know if you've ever heard of Scrum. Scrum is a way of meeting. So instead of having a meeting, we have a Scrum. And a Scrum is where each individual person will talk and say 3 points. What did I do last week? What am I doing this week? And do I have any impediments that are holding me on from continuing on doing things this week? So once you've done that, you can, that's throughout the task. So product owner comes in, product owner, whether it's the client, whoever, the project manager that you're dealing with says, okay, I want all of this. So you start putting in. So each of these queues, each of these boxes or whatever are requests.
Mhm.
This could be, I need a contact form. This one could be, I need a video. This one can be, I need email campaign, whatever it is. Then the ice box is just like what it is, right? I'll keep them on ice for you. It's just sitting there. Nothing's being done. Once the product owner has made all his requests, he then moves them into the backlog to be distributed to the team, and then that's called a sprint. And a sprint can be any increment of time. In my case, I like to use a week. So a sprint is a week worth of work. So he'll then move this one here to 1, this one will come to 2, this one will come to 3, and this is setting the priority. At that point, whoever's managing this, there's many people in the team, they get distributed. So this is Aldo, this is Alex, this is Tony, and now we have what we're to do work for this week. As we complete them, they get moved into the current, right? So then when we scrum that meeting once a week, we then can say, what did we do last week? What are we doing this week? And what if any impediments are holding us up from completing our task? And what happens is with the sprints, once the product owner has filled in all his requests, you then score these by points of difficulty. Because, from experience, we can say, how long does it take to edit a 3-minute video?
Right.
So you have a kind of an idea, because it's never
2 minutes. 2 minutes, and I'm done with that 3-minute video.
Okay, so but that's you. So, but you have your, I don't know, I just threw that out there.
Right.
But you have an idea of what it is. So you'll score it. And so I use a scale. There's many scales. I just use the Fibonacci scale. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, infinity. And then that's how I score it. So the create a contact form, I give that a 2, because the difficulty of making a contact form for me is very simple. So what happens is now there's a score that is agreed upon, right? So an average amount of points that will be completed that week. I know it's sounding a little complicated now, but stay with me. So then if I say 20 points, so I'm guaranteeing the product owner or the client that I'm going to complete 20 points for this person per sprint for a week. What happens is as we scored all the tickets and he set them all here, it's giving me dates, right? But now what happens is, so this could be February 28th when we've completed all these sprints. This could be April 1st when we've completed this set of sprints. What happens is now, if he comes in and changes scope, well, he added a ticket, which then reset the priorities and moved out the date. So now it's not a fixed date. Hey, you moved the deadline.
Right.
If you take something out, the deadline moves up. So it's a dynamic deadline. And this is a very popular project management process that was adopted by Silicon Valley, and it's working. It works for me. May not work for everyone.
Yeah.
But for creative, it freaking, because my problem with clients was always, I want a website, it's 5 pages, I want this, how long is it gonna take? Oh, okay, my last project took 3 weeks. He's like, 3 weeks, okay, that's good. And then he calls you in 2 weeks into it, he's like, that page that you put together, I really don't like it. Almost like if it was a flyer, right? Because you can grab an image and move it. But you can't do that anywhere. You gotta rewrite all the code that was behind it. So now I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And I would fumble with the client a lot. And then now what happens? Comes deadline, and I'm 2 days before finishing. And you can't, because he changed the scope on you, and I could have just said
software manages all that?
anything. There are a lot
I
of
use Trello.
Trello does this. Trello does this.
Yes.
Pivotal Tracker does this tracker.
Got it.
Jira does
These
this.
are columns. These are tasks.
Exactly.
Trello is super awesome.
Trello is an agile process. Agile is a methodology.
Yes.
We are very accustomed, especially in the Western world, we're accustomed to the waterfall. We have a boss. A boss has an employee, and that employee delegates work down. And that's the waterfall. It's a very traditional process. It was started like in the 1800s. And that's the process where you have CEO, CTO. Agile removes titles and makes everyone the same, right? Different pay rates, but everyone's the same. Everybody's accountable for themselves.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's how everybody knows what everybody's doing.
Exactly.
Trello?
Yeah, I use Trello a lot. It's something that before I used to use Basecamp.
I love Basecamp, but Basecamp's more of a collaboration tool.
Correct. Yeah.
So what's good about it is, like, let's say you're a client, you want to give me assets, and then I need to talk to Alex, which is heading the design. I can then say, client, put this asset. Alex, what do you think of this? And start the thread.
Yeah, like it shows everybody who's tagged.
Yeah, I like Trello. I like project. I use Pro Workflow for my company.
Nice. Right now I'm using Tracker, Harvest, and Basecamp. Those are my 3